Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the principal of my school and the entire staff of my school, Parmanand Public School. I am English teacher, and today I have got this opportunity to deliver a session in training, in-house training, which is initiated by CBSE. And today's topic is teaching strategies in English secondary level. So, how can we teach English and why English is taught in secondary level? Today we will discuss in this session. So, let us begin the session. English. What is English? We all know that English is just a language of international communication. It is the most common language in the world, and the highest second common language. Which is mainly spoken by more than 400 million people. The number of speakers of this language are more than 500 million people. And the first language which has got the highest number of speakers, that is Mandarin. Mainly a Chinese oldest language, and it has got 920 million people. It is spoken by more than 920 million people around the world. English is spoken by more than 400 million around the world. So, the first position this language Mandarin has got in terms of speaking worldwide, and second position Spanish. It has got 493 million speaker, which means it is spoken by more than 493 million people around the globe. And as far as our language Hindi, our mother language Hindi is concerned, it comes on fourth number. It has got fourth position in terms of speaking the language. And more than 260 million people, more than 260 million people use this language. So, what is language? What is English? At present, English is spoken around the world by more than 50 countries like USA, England, Australia, Canada, Ireland, and many more. And the development of English, as far as its development is concerned, as far as its origination is concerned, I would like to tell you, it was during 14th century when this language came into existence. And earlier, English was known as angels. Angels were a specific community or tribal who were in Germany, and when they migrated from Germany to Britain around 14th century, they started using this language as their first language for communication. It is one of the ancient Germanic peoples who migrated from Anglia, a peninsula on the Baltic Sea, to the area of Great Britain, and later the name of the country Britain changed from Britain to England. When angels started speaking the language which is at present known as English, and due to this, the name of the country Britain changed from Britain to England. And in terms of India, as far as English is concerned, it was during British rule around 200 years ago. English was introduced in India in 18th century. This language was introduced in our educational system, but before that there were so many Sanskrit schools, Urdu schools, and in 1835 English was made aware with the people of India by English a scholar, Lord Macaulay. Lord Macaulay, which was later supported by many intellectuals and social reformers like Rabindranath Tagore and Rajaram Mohan Rai. They were in favor of this language. They advocated for this language to introduce in education system of India. Now, let's moving on. Teaching strategies. About teaching English at secondary level. May I have the stove, please? Which strategies must be adopted by teacher while teaching English at secondary level? And what are the basic goal or basic objectives or aims of teaching English at secondary level? Aims of teaching English at secondary level. Like to understand spoken English with ease and to understand English from broadcasting. Another, to speak simple English correctly and fluently at secondary level, to make the students able to read English comprehension at a reasonable speed, to pronounce the words correctly. The teacher must have some strategies so that the students can be able to pronounce the words correctly and fluently, and to produce simple and meaningful sentences, to be engaged in conversation in English, and to write neatly and correctly at a reasonable speed, to read and comprehend stories and incidents in social setup, and to understand the content from English magazine or English newspaper. And apart from this, there are some other aims like general aim. cultural aim. So, what is the basic general aim? The general aim of teaching English at secondary level is to make the learner or students an effective uses of English language. It means how can a teacher make his or her student able to speak, read and write a language effectively. Next, cultural aim. What is cultural aim? The cultural aim of teaching English is to enable the students or learner to know all the cultural goal of the world in general and cultural groups of India. In particular, it will help in exchanging cultural values. Suppose I am a student, I am an Indian student and I am very much interested to know the history, culture, tradition of another country where English is used as the first language, as their mother language. Then how can I be able to know their cultural values, their history or their tradition? I can become only able to know or gain information about other countries' culture or history if I am able to speak the language which is used by that country. If an American or any Australian, if they are interested to learn the values of the cultural importance and history of India, he will also have to learn this language. It can be either Hindi or English. So, this is our cultural aim, which we, being a teacher, we have to develop this skill among our students. Next, literary aim. Literary aim. Literary aim of teaching English is to open the treasures of rich English literature for Indians, such as poetry, drama, prose, fiction, and to make our students enable to produce Indian English literature to communicate the Indian philosophy, culture values and dynamics to the world. Literary aims, we have to make our learner or our students, we have to inspire our students to read more literature work, because it helps a lot a learner in learning a language. It can be through poetry, it can be through drama, it can be through novels or stories. Next is utilitarian aim. It means the aim of teaching English is to open the gates of opportunities in different fields of life like education, travel, science, technology, international affairs, etc. If our students are having knowledge of English, they can go in any field. They can have more information in science, in technology. It can help also in traveling from one place to another. Next is linguistic aim. The linguistic aim of the teaching English is to enable our learners to understand the system of English words like morphology, phonology and syntax. Morphology. Syntax. What is morphology? It is the study of the smallest meaningful units of words and break them into their simplest parts. Means how words are produced, how are words made by combining all the letters. We have to study in this sector, which is known as morphology. Second is phonology. It is part of sounds. Study of sounds and their parts. It focuses on how sounds are made using the tongue. It means how the words are being produced from our mouth, how we pronounce any words. Second one is syntax, means study of sentence. It focuses on the structure of language regarding how it is orally and literally presented. We have so many words, we have letters and we have sentences. To learn any language, first of all, we have to have the knowledge of letters of that language. If you are learning Hindi, then at the beginning we must have the knowledge of letters, how letters are written, how letters are spoken, how they are combined from one letter to another letter to produce a new letter or new words, and how words are formed. Words are formed by combining letters together. Then it comes sentences. If we have knowledge about forming words together according to the uses of the words, we call it syntax. In syntax, we learn about making or framing sentences together. And when we know how to combine words together, we can write more sentences, and if we are able to write more sentences, we can write a long paragraph. This is how these things are attached together. Let's move on. There are some general objectives of teaching English. The first one is listening, second is speaking, third one is reading, and fourth one is writing. It is called LSRW. L stand for listening, S stand for speaking, R stand for reading, and W stand for writing. This is called the basic method of learning any language. This is the same way through which we all have got to learn a language, be it Hindi, be it English, or any other language. The first process is listening. Then it comes speaking. Then reading. And at last it comes writing. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The first step is to listen. And I would like to give a good example. How a newborn baby, a newly child, learn to speak a language. And how we have learned our language. First of all, when we all were young kids, we did not speak first. First of all, we at our young stage, we used to listen others. We used to listen our parents, our siblings, our elders, or anyone in the family. This process starts in our family. Then the child observes the words spoken by his parents or anybody else in the family. He absorbs. Then, after absorbing, he starts speaking by speaking a few words like ma, pa, etc. A child takes a lot of time to learn the language. First is listening. Child, listen very carefully. If you have a child, your son or daughter, then you all must have observed this process. You must have called your babies lovingly, and the child started listening you carefully, observing the words and then reacting or responding to your words. And then he starts speaking a few words. Speaking, it's very important. If you really want to speak a language, if you really want to learn a language, then start speaking the language. Whatever comes to your mind, just keep on speaking. Just goes on speaking. Whatever. Doesn't matter whether you are speaking right or wrong, but keep speaking. Next, of listening. What does it do? It enables the learners to listen to English sounds properly, listen to words with meaningful expressed by others, give the responses to the talk of the teacher, recognize and tell meaning of the words and sentences or expressed by the teacher, reproduce whatever he has listened from the teacher or parents, and organize the idea listened to. Then it comes speaking. Need and importance of language. I am addressing a session on the topic of teaching strategies in English at secondary level. So, what is the need and importance of English language? English as a global language, there are some things which we are going to learn in this session ahead. Concept of mother tongue, second language, and foreign language, language acquisition and language learning, and multilingualism and constitutional position. There are some provision in our संविधान. भारतीय संविधान में अंग्रेजी भाषा को लेकर इसके लिए एक अलग से संविधान बनाया गया है. कुछ ऐसे आर्टिकल भी हैं जिसमें इस बात को अंकित किया गया है कि अंग्रेजी को ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज या स्टेट लैंग्वेज के रूप में हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. English as a global language means of communication. Nowadays, it has become a symbol of our status, our smartness, that we speak English, we know English. If we don't know English, if we don't use English for our communication, we are considered illiterate or not to be smart. It is also used as language of business. It is like Windows of the modern world. It is also used for gaining knowledge, unifying languages in India across north and south. It is also Pandora box of opportunities. Means English has got so much of importance that having knowledge of English, we can have a lot of opportunities in any sector. Whether we want to go in any field or any sector, we must have knowledge of English. If a student wants to become an engineer or doctor, he will have knowledge of English before going for that course. Importance of teaching and research. Nowadays, all the researches are being done in this language. All the books in medical, engineering, technology, space, and etc. All the books are being published in only one language, that is English. English has also become the language of technology and computer. And also, it is more important in terms of our career or corporate sector. If we want to make our career in any field, we must have knowledge of English. We must know how to speak English. And also, respect in society. Nowadays, it is considered that a person having knowledge of English, he is respected everywhere. Mother tongue, which is first language or native language. So, what is mother language? What is mother tongue? A language that a child acquires before coming to school by just being with parents, relatives, friends, neighbors, and peer group. It is also a language that a person knows best and uses the most. Mother tongue. It can be depend on the person to person, and everybody in the world has their own mother tongue. It can be English, it can be Urdu, it can be Arabic, it can be Bhojpuri, it can be Chinese or any other language. Everybody is having at least one knowledge of language. And this language is learned by children much before coming to school. A child who gets enrolled in the school, but before that, at least he has got knowledge of his mother tongue. Means, like I had said, LSRW, listening, speaking, reading and writing. A child who is going to learn a language, it happens in 4 steps. The first one is listening. A child listens very carefully to others, to his parents, teachers, or anybody in the family. Then he tried to speak few words. Then he comes to school, and in the school he is made to read by the teachers, and then writing. So, writing is not much important. The first thing which is more important in acquiring or gaining knowledge of a language is listening and speaking. Second language. In India, Hindi is our first language. If we belong to North India, then Hindi or any other regional languages are our first language. And apart from Hindi and our regional languages, all the languages that we get to learn later, that is known as second language. Like English. English is not our mother tongue, not our mother language. For every Indian, English is used as second language. Be it Bihari or anybody from UP or Punjabi, any Malayali or any Tamilian. They all have their first language. It can be Tamil, it can be Kannada, it can be Malayalam, it can be Bhojpuri, it can be Assami, it can be Urdu. And second language, which we learn much later after our schooling or during our schooling, is our second language. Any language which is learned after the first language is called second language. Like us, we have learned English as our second language, and it is used in the area of a person where we are living. Like Bhojpuri is our mother tongue, our first language. We can say Hindi is also our mother language, our first language. But we cannot say that English is our mother tongue or English is our first language. Because wherever we are staying in our area, in our surrounding, English is not much popular. English is not widely spoken by our people. And generally spoken in formal setups like schools, banks, offices, colleges, etc. Next, English as official language. It is clearly mentioned in our Constitution of India that under Article 343, Article 343, it says official language of Union, which is Hindi, in Devanagari script, but may make provision for English language. And there is another article mentioned in our Constitution, 345, Article 345, which is also dedicated to language. And what does it say? State legislature may adopt at least one or more from 8th schedule of our Constitution. At present, currently there are 22 languages in 8th schedule. And another Article 348, what does it say? That official gazette of a state by governor English with regional language, and the language used in our apex court, Supreme Court or High Courts is English. All the verdicts, all the judgments in High Courts and Supreme Courts are given or written in English only under the Article 348 of our Constitution. Another article 346, it says communication between state or union territories of India they can adopt either Hindi or English only. Next, English as a foreign language. What is foreign language? The language which is not spoken in the native country or region of a person. Language of another country is called foreign language. We in India learn English as a foreign language. English is not our own language. Like for North Indian people, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, etc. This can be used as foreign language. The people who belongs to North India, they cannot speak Tamil, Kannada or any other language which are mostly spoken in southern part of India. And for South Indian people, Hindi, Bhojpuri or Punjabi or any other language belongs to North India, they can also learn these languages as their foreign language. Their first language would be their own language, which can be either Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam. Next, language acquisition. A person always acquires the first language, the mother tongue, the first language. It is not learned, it is acquired naturally, and mainly through listening and speaking. Unaware of grammatical rules. We all speak Hindi or Urdu, Bhojpuri. Do we ever care while speaking any grammatical rule or any grammatical error? Or before learning our first language, our mother language, our mother tongue, do we go for extra classes to learn the basic grammar rules to learn our mother tongue, our mother language? No. It is acquired, it is not learned. And effortless. We don't put so much of hard work to learn our mother tongue. Since our childhood, we have been attached with this language, we have been surrounded by our mother tongue. That's why we don't make so much of effort to learn English. in non-formal setups. Means our mother language, our mother tongue can be used in our homes, in our neighborhood, in our surroundings, like family and anything else. Next, English as an associate official language. Initially, after the independence of our country in 1947, the use of English language was only for 15 years, but due to pressure from various states, official language, there was an act in 1963 act. It clearly mentioned and it was enforced from 26 January 1965. English language continued for official purposes of the Union in the Parliament also. Article number 120. It says, business in Parliament, either Hindi or English. Under Article 120, it says, inside the Parliament, संसद के अंदर किसी भी मेंबर के द्वारा जो लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा वो या तो हिंदी होगा या फिर इंग्लिश होगा. नो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट कैन यूज एनी अदर रीजनल लैंग्वेज और एनी सेकेंड लैंग्वेज apart from Hindi and English. There is another article, Article 210. It clearly says, in the state, as far as all the states are concerned, in their legislative assembly, official language or language of the state, Hindi or English or any other language can be used. Next, multilingualism. Multilingualism means having knowledge of more than one language. We all can be called multilingualism because we use more than one language. In a school, we all are teachers here. We are having more than one language. Our first language is Hindi or Bhojpuri, but we are also having to use English as our second language. All the question papers are made in multilingualism. It means more than one language. India, which is considered to be a multilingual society where thousands of languages are there, thousands of dialects are there, where languages change at every 10 to 20 किलोमीटर्स. भारत जो है एक ऐसा देश है जहां बहुत सारी भाषाएं बोली जाती हैं और ऐसा माना जाता है कि हर 10 से 20 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर एक भाषा, एक बोली जो है चेंज हो जाती है. एंड रिसोर्सेस, लिंग्विस्टिक, सोशल एंड cognitive development, it can be used as valuable asset for learning subsequent languages. Uses of previous language part of oral discussion, written assignment. Some recent research are multilingual, and it is also said that a person who is multilingual, a person who knows more than one language, is called more intelligent. And multilingualist awareness means to be able to talk about structure and functions of various languages, learning more powerful use of mother tongue and medium of education in primary level, learning outcome would be stronger. Let's move on. Let's throw some light on the background of English in India. We all know that Indians came in contact with English languages since the establishment of East India Company in the year 1612. But the spread of language took place when the British became the rulers of our country, and in 1813 English language was introduced as a medium of instruction at all the levels of our education system. Like earlier I had said, reformers like Rabindranath Tagore and Raja Ram Mohan Rai, they had realized the importance of English and saw in it the promise of modernization and liberation. They have favored it, and this had opened the door for English in India during the British rule. As I had earlier mentioned that Lord Macaulay in 1835 desired to produce through English education a class of person Indian in blood and color but English in taste, in opinion, in morals and intellect. Let's move forward. Objectives of teaching English at secondary level. Linguistics never differentiates between lower level and higher level objectives. It thinks all its four objectives, listening, speaking, reading and writing, are to be realized at both the levels. To these linguistic objectives, literature adds to more creativity and appreciation. These two objectives are purely higher level. An attempt is to be made to encourage the pupils, students, in the 2 final years in the school to thus begin appreciation of literary forms of English writings and cultural enjoyment of English language. The material thus presented should be suitably adapted to the needs of their courses in a simple and suitable linguistic point of view. At the close of a school career, and every people should be able, a student must be able to understand and follow talks in English on general topics within the prescribed vocabulary and sentences structure. Talk freely within the range of language items and express suitably. Write correctly in English on familiar topics fit to be expressed within the range of the prescribed vocabulary and sentence structures. And at last, finally, I would like to describe a few important things like the best method of teaching English at secondary level. The first one is immersive reading activities. Means study English literature is one of the most effective ways to develop fluency in reading, writing and at some extent speaking the language. The second one is debate and discussion. The students must be encouraged to debate on different subjects. Third one is boost writing skill and fun ways. It also helps to gain written fluency in any language. And the fourth one is build on inspiration study environment. Means don't expect the students to get excited about learning if the classroom environment is not designed to inspire them. There are a number of ways to boost the learning appeal of a certain space. So get creative and set a zone that can encourage and motivate students at secondary level to learn this language. So these were the few strategies of teaching English at secondary level. If you have any question regarding that, you all are welcome. Okay, now it's time to conclude the session. I hope you all must have enjoyed the session and I'm very thankful to you for having me for last 1 year. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the entire team of school. Thank you everybody.